Good morning. I hope that's not too loud. Good morning and welcome to the 2025 Lebanon School District Deliberative Session meeting. And my name's Gary Mayo. I've been doing this for 25 years with a couple of years of break in service. And this is the session where we will go over the warrant items in preparation for voting on March 11th. We have anybody who wants to participate needs to be here in person, although we are streaming it so that there are people who are following along elsewhere. And on a weather day like this, maybe there's several or a lot. If you want to come to the microphone in response to anything up here, please just speak clearly. I'm going to ask you for your name and your ward, and then you can go ahead. We can consider and amend the articles that are listed on the warrant, and there are ways to ask for amendments and things of that ilk. And the rules that I'm going to follow are pretty basic. I've got a little chart over there that says Robert's Rules of Order, and I almost never have to use them. And the most important thing is I've got an attorney here who understands all the things that I might not, and if we get to that point, that's where I'm going to be going, just so you know. There are a bunch of people here that we like to acknowledge in the course of doing this before we get started. And so from the school board, we have Richard Ford Burley, John Entremont, Mary Eads, Martha Di Domenico, Wendy Hall, Lillian Mon, Jessica Satterley Hall, Kevin Schutz, and Tia Winter. Administrators, Amy Allen, Superintendent, Tim Ball, Business Administrator, Ben Nestor, Director of Special Services, Karen Dubois, District Director of Equity Curriculum Instruction and Assessment, long title, Tyler Shenna, Director of Technology, Diane Estes, Director of School and Community Relations, also the District Clerk, and the Director of Facilities, John Kerber. Building Principals, Leah Whelan, Hanover Street, Katie Roach, Mount Lebanon School, Tom Harkins, Lebanon Middle School, right here. Ian Smith, High School. Ian's Assistant Principal, Colin Tyndall. Bonnie Robinson, Director of Curriculum, Instruction, Assessment. And Ben Davis, our Athletic Director. Sean Tanguy is our school district attorney today. He's sitting over at the table. And we have folks from JAM to do the video, Soundtown to do the audio. We might have somebody here from the Valley News, I don't know. And we have a familiar face from the Lebanon Police Department, Greg Partham, over in the corner. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic on which it stands, one nation, under God, and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like action on the reading of the warrant, please.
I move to waive the reading of the entire warrant.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to waive the reading of the entire warrant, and unless anyone has anything to say about it, we're going to accept that and move along. Hearing none. Election 1. Article 1, election of officials.
Morning. To elect 3 members of the school board, each for a 3-year term. To elect a school district clerk, a school district treasurer, and the school district monitor, each for 1-year term.
Okay, there are 6 positions open this year, as just enumerated, and one of them is mine, and I just want to note here that I find it somewhat odd that it used to be that you could come to this meeting and decide that you want to join the group and, run for office, but somehow the filing period was ended yesterday. So if you didn't get there by yesterday, you're out of luck. And I was reminded of that and managed to show up at City Hall a couple days ago and put in my $1. I hope someday that will change and we'll be able to do it here, because it might, especially if we have things going on, it might spur some more people that are interested in being part of this. Any further action on Article 1? Okay. Action on Article 2, please.
Good morning. Article 2, the operating budget. To see if the school district will raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amounts set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $55,499,757. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $55,148,353, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Lebanon School District or by law. Or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, 10, and 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Majority vote required. The school board recommends this article by a vote of 9 yes and 0 no. Okay. The budget of $55,499,757 recommended by the Lebanon School Board and presented to you today is the product of months of preparation by school staff and administrators and several months of discussion by the Lebanon School Board. In November 2024, the budget proposal for the 2025-2026 school year was presented to the Lebanon School Board. The proposed operating budget increase for 2025-2026 is 0.3%. The increase is primarily due to increasing benefit costs. Additionally, we are seeing increased tuition costs for special education and increased participation at the Hartford Area Career and Technology Center. The proposed budget, including all funds, is $55,499,757. The proposed budget is estimated to add about 33 cents per $1,000 to the local school property tax rate. If the operating budget is not approved, the default budget will be $55,148,353, including the food service and grant funds. The default budget by law reflects the equation of the current budget minus one-time expenses in the current budget plus any additional cost of contractual obligations.
And we have a presentation. Here comes Amy.
Good morning, everyone. Amy Allen, Superintendent of the Lebanon School District. All right, I'm here to talk about our budget development timeline and the details of our budgets. We started in the fall of 2024 having budget discussions and budget planning, knowing that this was going to be a tight budget year. We had budget presentations at the SAU prior to meeting with our boards. We had goal setting, strategic plan talks about what the school's needs were. We met with the principals, met with the board reps, and we were able to make some reductions. I have some papers over at that front table that will outline the reductions that were made prior to the annual meeting on November 23rd, at the annual meeting, and then in December as well. More reductions, as I mentioned, were made throughout the fall. The total reductions made from September to December 13th were $1,350,249. January 8th, we had our public hearing, and today we're at our deliberative session. All right, strategic priorities. First and foremost, this budget that we are presenting is student-centric. We're keeping the students at the center of every decision that we make. This budget also protects the well-rounded education. It preserves our academic, our co-curricular, and our social and emotional programs at the Lebanon School District. The third strategic priority was the elementary experience. We are continuing towards equity between Hanover Street and Mount Lebanon School. We want the student to have the same experience no matter which elementary school they attend. Number 4, budget and operations. We believe this proposed budget strengthens our infrastructure and efficiency. Number 5, it will meet the legal obligations of the Individuals with Disabilities Act. And number 6, being mindful of our residents who have expressed concerns about property taxes. I want to take a little moment here before I go further to celebrate this past year. We've accomplished so much. First, I want to talk about Take Flight. Lebanon High School students are building an RV-12 airplane. Last fall, we received a competitive grant application to put forth with the New Hampshire Aviation Museum to put a grant together to receive funding for a RV-12 plane kit. Kudos to the Lebanon High School team, community members, and our mentors who came together to put forward an application, and we were awarded this year's award. We have 14 students in the class. They are taking 2 period blocks where they're learning to build this airplane. I'm pleased to say and really excited, we are overachieving in this class. Our airplane will be built on a timeline sooner than we expected, and hopefully we'll be getting another plane coming forward, so we'll be able to continue that class. This was done through grants and donations. When this plane is built, this plane will be sold out, and the proceeds will go back to pay for that additional kit. So. In a few weeks, the Take Flight class and instructors and Dr. Robinson and I will be going to the State Board of Education to present about the Take Flight class and highlighting the benefits of public education and what can happen in public education. Next thing to celebrate is our new learning spaces at Mount Leb School, Hanover Street School, and Lebanon High School. I hope you all had an opportunity to go over and see these new learning spaces. They've made such a difference at the individual schools in our community, and I can tell you they are being used to full capacity, and it's really changed the culture in the community within their school district. Next, last year we won the Best Communities for Music Education Award. We have a great musical and arts program here in Lebanon. This was the Hampshire Award and celebrated nationally. So again, I want to congratulate the Lebanon School District for supporting such a robust music and art program. Last year, Lebanon High School teacher Joy Gobin won the New Hampshire ELO, which is Extended Learning Opportunities Network Lifetime Achievement Award. Most recently, included in my newsletter, Lebanon High School science teacher John Tejan received the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science. It is a national recognition. He was awarded $10,000. Congratulations to Mr. Tejan. And finally, we just found out this year, Lebanon High School is a candidate for the New Hampshire High School of the Year. All right, I wanted to do a graph of enrollment history from 2019, projecting from 2028, 2029. I'm going to say this with caution. This is based on our numbers and numbers from our sending towns of Grantham and Plainfield. This does not include any new builds that have been approved in the city of Lebanon. We have initiated an enrollment study, and that should be completed to be presented to the school board and our community probably by mid to late February, early March. So we anticipate we'll be able to have more accurate numbers, but these are based on our current enrollment and the current enrollment in Plainfield and Grantham. As I mentioned before, this is a needs-based budget, and we met with each of the schools to talk about their needs, and I just wanted to highlight some of the highlights that they presented to us and their focus areas and strategies to meet their goals. First being Mount Leb Elementary School. Their focus areas are continuing to meet the academic needs and provide them with a variety of experiences, the implementation of a new ELA program, UFly, and the implementation of a responsive classroom. Responsive classroom is in response to social emotional needs throughout the district. Their strategies, they're going to continue to work as a team to meet all of the needs of their students, and they will have training in June of 2025, paid by grants for that responsive classroom implementation, and that will go into implementation for the fall. Over at Hanover Street Elementary School, they're also implementing that new ELA curriculum, UFly. They're also implementing responsive classroom. And they host the district intensive needs program because of rising pre-K going into kindergarten. That intensive need program next year is going to be doubling in size. So they're going to be focusing on training their personnel for that and making sure they have the adequate resources to educate and support the new students. They purchased through grants some decodable texts, and we have additional professional development time. And as I mentioned before, we'll be doing the professional development for that responsive classroom with Mount Leb this summer to be implemented in June. Moving along to our middle school, Mr. Harkins and his team identified 4 areas: their special education needs, social emotional needs, class sizes, and minimizing lost instruction time due to emotional dysregulation. Their strategies identified were to add a behavioral support person. Through this budget conversation, we were able to maintain that in the budget by a reallocation of resources. As I mentioned before, class size, we have a large 4th grade class currently at our elementary schools, which is going to bump up to 5th grade. So we know we need to add an additional 5th grade teacher to accommodate that 5th grade class. We were able to do that by reallocating a teacher from Hanover Street School who will move up to the middle school next year. Moving on to high school, Principal Smith and his team identified a couple target areas. They have gone through a NEAS training, which is accreditation for the high school. They received extremely high marks. Mr. Smith and his team presented that report to the school board, I believe, last month. Their focus areas are on cultural competencies, the ELL program, student services, curriculum development, consistent learning experiences, and common assessments for light classes within content areas. Their strategy is they're going to continue to focus on school culture. They're completing and making public all 3 stages of the written curriculum documents, providing time of professional learning around instruction for project-based learning, and continuing common learning experiences in their courses. Finally, the SAU budget. Strengthening our systems. We need to replace a maintenance vehicle. We need a maintenance vehicle with a lift to maintain our operations. Through our budget proposal, we need to update our aging fleet buses of 4 of them. This is going to be completed by end-of-year funds. And we've done a reallocation of resources in the facilities department so we can target efficiencies and focusing on preventative maintenance. And we are also, at the retirement of Diane Estes, we'll be making the Director of School and Community Relations a year-round position. Next, I'd just like to highlight some of our performance data. First slide is our 2024. This is our state-wide assessment for English language art proficiency. The dark red is the SAU. The lighter pink is the state. This is from 2024. As you can see, in grades 3, 4, 6, and 7, we are outperforming the state in this area. In grades 5 and 8, we are just under the state. Last year and this year, we have invested funds, including grants, for the science of reading training. Currently, we have a committee at the middle school who is looking at instructional minutes across the board, especially in English language arts, and we're providing professional development to our teachers for embedding English language content across all other disciplines. Moving on to math, SAT Assessment 2024. As you can see, we're in the dark red again. We are above the state average across the board in grades 3 to 8. This district has invested math curriculum, and we're in full implementation, so we're excited for the early promising results for our math scores. Next, moving on, science. Science is given in grades 5, 8, and 11 in the state of New Hampshire. As you can see, we're outperforming the state in all 3 grades. In 11th grade, doing extremely well. All right, moving on to the 11th grade reading and writing and math. This is done through the SATs. As you can see, we are outperforming the state and national average. I did want to highlight, across the nation, not everyone takes the SAT. Across the nation, in many states, they only give the SAT to kids that who intend to go to college. In New Hampshire, it is a statewide assessment, so that makes that data even more impressive that all of our students are taking that data and our students are performing that well. So I'd like to congratulate the whole district from K to 12 for strengthening our system. You probably can't see this as well, but I just want to highlight some more exciting things coming out of the high school. U.S. News ranked Lebanon as the 4th best high school in the state of New Hampshire. Number 1 was the Academy for Science and Design, number 2, Sunapee, and number 3, Hanover. So kudos to Lebanon High School for getting that acknowledgement. I want to next talk about AP scores. We had 52 students who took a total of 92 AP classes, and for the 3rd consecutive year, 85% of those students who took the AP exam receive a passing score that would give them college credit. So the students that are taking these classes are doing really well. Here is just a list of recent acceptances by Lebanon High School graduates. We have kids going overseas, we have kids local here in New Hampshire, Dartmouth, well represented all around the country, students doing great things after graduating from our district. Next, I'd like to highlight Hartford Area Career and Technical Center. Currently, we have 68 students attending Hartford. Students are studying and receiving credentials in auto body, motorsports, customs, automotive technology, building trades, business, cosmetology, culinary arts, design, illustration, and media arts, health science, industrial and mechanics welding, information technology, natural resources, and STEM. Whatever pathway a student chooses, they are being prepared to either enter the workforce, college, or military. Next, I'm going to go over the general fund proposed budget. For the 25-26 school year, it is $53,749,747. The proposed increase is of $163,327, or 0.3%. You'll see through this budget, we're maintaining our instruction and extracurricular programs. We're continue our commitment to our students who want to attend vocational education. We're strengthening our building and operation infrastructure. We're providing comprehensive special education programs to meet the needs of all of our students, and we're meeting the needs of our contractual obligations. Through this budget process, we've maintained a zero-based budget process, and we have clarity in transportation. What does that mean? Rather than assuming the district will spend a certain amount on items each year, administrators have a specific need for cost for each item in the account line. Those lines have been reviewed multiple times. As I mentioned before, they've been reviewed by board members, SAU, and building administrators to make sure what we're putting forward is a needs-based budget. As I mentioned before, and in the paper on the table back there, this budget process has been a long time in the making. The total reductions that this district has made prior to our meetings up into the December 11th board meeting was $1,350,249. I want to thank the leadership teams who took that time to look at the needs and thank the board for supporting this budget. Some of the highlights. The summary of budget 2025 was $53,586,420. The summary of the proposed budget for 2026, $53,749,747. That summary of the budget difference is $163,327. The largest increase in the proposed budget is for special education, with an increase of $545,116, and for facilities for $190,978. Much of those increases are wages, benefits, and with facilities, utilities. We were able to offset the proposed budget by decreasing other areas such as regular education / general education and support services. Next slide is a graph where you'll see regular ed general education makes up 42%, special education 19%, and all other functions 39%. That includes athletics, transportation, nursing guidance, SAU. General fund proposed highlighted by object. The largest increase in the proposed budget is for wages with an increase of $361,926 and benefits for $295,360. We were able to offset the proposed budget by decreasing other areas such as contracted services, so bringing services in-house, decreasing dues and fees and other outlays. Outlays, for those who don't know, are such as interest payments in principal bond payments and fund transfers. Again, here's a graph. So you look at his district wages make up 7% of the budget. District benefits 29%, other student costs 20%, building expenses excluding salaries and benefits 4%. We're going to move on to the general fund revenue. Fiscal year 2024 actual revenue was $50,045,336. Fiscal year 2025 budget revenue was $52,907,814. Fiscal year 2026 proposed revenue, $53,765,765,025. The proposed general fund revenue, $850,211. We are seeing the largest revenue in this in state education funding and tuition for students attending Lebanon School District. We are seeing the largest decrease in revenue for Medicaid reimbursement and the adequate education tax. Most recently, we received a letter from the New Hampshire Department of Ed from Commissioner Edelblu saying we should expect less special education aid. There's current legislation that has more dollars moving away from the schools. So this is something that we're watching as a community and the impact that will have on our community budgeting. Next, tax impact. 33 cents on a 1,000 assessed value. So let's talk about what that breaks down to. On a $300,000 house, the proposed budget will have an impact of $97.67 per year. The default budget will have a proposed impact on $59.03. The difference is a total of $38.65, and per month that difference is $3.22. On a $500,000 house, The proposed impact will be about $162.79 per year. The default would be $98.38, the difference of $64.41, and per month, the difference of $5.37. On a $1 million house, the proposed impact would be $325.58 per year. The default, $196.76. The difference per year of $128.82, and per month would be $10.73. The default budget is last year's budget, reduced by one-time expenditures and increased or decreased by debt service, contracts, or other obligations previously incurred or mandated by law. Our default budget is $55,148,353.08. The default budget difference to the final budget is a total of $351,393.92. I want to thank you for the presentation, and thank you for coming here today.
Thank you, Amy. Any further action on Article 2? Hearing and seeing none, I'd like to know if there's action on Article 3, please.
Good morning. Article 3, the Lebanon Education Association Collective Bargaining Agreement. To see if the school district will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Lebanon School Board and the Lebanon Education Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing level. For fiscal year 2026, the estimated increase is $1,017,678. For fiscal year 2027, the estimated increase is $891,066. For fiscal year 2028, the estimated increase is $885,208. And further, to raise and appropriate $1,017,678 for the current fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at the current staffing levels. A majority vote is required. The school board recommends this article by a vote of 9 yes and 0 no.
Thank you. Is there any further action on Article 3, please? Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. Dick Milius, Ward 1. I wonder if, just for informational purposes, we could have a similar breakdown as on the tax impact to the on the property tax as was provided for Article 2. In other words, percentages and dollars per thousand of assessed value.
I can tell you right now. All right, the impact is 37 cents per thousand. If you give me a minute, I'll break it down by 300, 500, and a million, but it's 37 cents per thousand assessed value.
Any further action on Article 3? Hearing and seeing none, I'd like action on Article 4, please.
Article 4, Special Meeting for Defeated, Amended Collective Bargaining Agreement. Shall the school district, if warrant article number 3 is defeated, authorize the governing body to call one special meeting at its option to address warrant article number 3 cost items only? A majority vote is required. The school board recommends this article by a vote of 9 yes to 0 no.
Any further discussion or action on Article 4? Hearing and seeing none. I would like action on Article 5, please.
Article 5, appropriation to the Lebanon School District Special Education Expendable Trust Fund. To see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $250,000 to be added to the Lebanon School District Special Education Expendable Trust Fund previously established. This sum to come from the June 30 fund balance available to transfer on July 1st in excess of $1 million. The first $1 million of the June 30 unassigned fund balance will be used to reduce the tax rate in 2025. No amount is to be raised from taxation. Majority vote required. The school board recommends this article by a vote of 9 yes, 0 no. Note, the board seeks to appropriate funds from year-end fund balance to cover the cost of unanticipated increases in special education costs next school year.
Any discussion or action on Article 5? Hearing and seeing none. Action on Article 6, please.
All right. To see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $400,000 to be added to the Lebanon School District Construction and Renovations of School Buildings Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This sum is to come from the June 30 fund balance available for transfer on July 1 in excess of $1 million. The first $1 million of the June 30 unassigned fund balance will be used to reduce the school tax rate in 2025. No amount is to be raised from taxation. A majority vote is required, and the school board recommends this article by a vote of 9 yes, 0 no. Note, the board seeks to accelerate the growth of this fund to address ongoing and future capital needs.
Any further discussion or action on Article 6? Hearing and seeing none. Moderator's prerogative. Yeah?
We have the data that was asked by Mr.
Oh,
Milius.
there's some data available?
Yes.
Sir?
I'm sorry. Sir, Article 3, the teacher's contract, the additional for a $300,000 home for a year would be $111 or $9.25 a month. For a $500,000 home, $185 a year, which is $15.42 a month. And if you have $1 million house, it's $370 a year, which is $30.83 a month. So that's the additional to warrant Article 2. Thank you.
Okay, back to that moderator's prerogative. For the last 33 years, I've traveled around the country and around the world in the service of Special Olympics. And I've just recently retired from everything outside of the state of New Hampshire. I'm now just doing this. Next weekend, I'll be jumping in the ocean for the 26th time, one of 4 people to have done it all those years. I've raised over $250,000 for the local Special Olympics team, the Upper Valley Hawks. I'm a very firm believer and supporter of special education, and I'm very glad to see how well we support it here. And oh, by the way, one of my teammates next weekend is somebody you may have heard of. She supports, her name is Kelly Ayotte. Any questions before we wrap this up? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Any comments? Final comments? March 11th is when you vote on this. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.